Good afternoon. The Senate Committee on Natural Resources will now come to order. Welcome to those in Carson City online and, of course, by phone. Will our Secretary please proceed to call the roll?
Senator Brooks. Here. Senator Goycochea. Here. Senator Hansen. Here. Senator Scheibel. Here. Chair Donate.
And I am here. Thank you so much. All our members are present. We're going to do a few housekeeping items, just so for anyone that's in the public watching online, if they want to do any public comment later today, you have the ability to do so. So members and presenters, please remember to mute your microphone when you are not speaking. And now, of course, for anyone that's in the committee room, please mute any cell phones or any other electronic devices as well. For all individuals present in our meeting room, please always keep your face covering on and maintain social distancing. The legislative building has been closed to the public, but it is opening up gradually with the necessary safety precautions. So it is a hybrid now with virtual and in-person participation. As in previous sessions, all committee-related information is available on Nellis, which is accessible from the legislature's website. And there are four main ways that you can engage with our committee. The first is to register to participate in a committee meeting through the Nellis system. You can also submit written testimony to the committee's email address or fax number listed on the agenda. You can share your opinion via the legislature's opinion application on Nellis. And last but not least, you can view committee meetings online through the Nellis system or on the legislature's YouTube website. To testify on a bill or provide public comment during the 2021 legislative session, members of the public must first register for the meeting that you'd like to participate in, and detailed instructions are available on Nellis. Similar to previous sessions, testimony and public comment may be limited due to time constraints. When you are on the phone line, please pay attention to which bill is being considered. Today we're not hearing any bills, we'll be work sessioning, but you might follow the verbal prompts provided by Broadcast and Production Services so that you know which keys to press to unmute yourself. And of course, like always, if you ever need any assistance with any of these processes, or if you'd like to simply receive electronic notification of the committee's agendas and minutes, please feel free to contact our committee manager at the committee email listed on the agenda. As I mentioned, today the committee will be conducting a work session on 11 bills. We have SB 443, AB 85, AB 89, AB 97, AB 101, AB 102, AB 146, AB 148, AB 356, AB 452, and AJR 3. I would like to remind everyone that we will not be taking testimony at the work session. However, I may call on someone as necessary to answer any questions from the committee members. And of course, we have people who are present to answer any questions, and also people available online via Zoom. So let's go ahead and begin with Senate Bill 443. I'll go ahead and proceed with this. So this bill makes revisions or various changes relating to agriculture. Our policy analyst, Jennifer Rudy, will be walking us through the work session. So Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Donate. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Senate Bill 443 makes various changes relating to seeds. Certain terms are defined, including certifying agency, which is clarified to be an agency authorized under the laws of a state, territory, or possession of the United States, officially to certify seed, and which has procedures and standards that are approved by the United States Secretary of Agriculture to assure the purity and identity of the certified seed. Certain conforming changes are made, including the expansion of the scope of required regulations to account for the new provisions. The bill requires that any container of seeds of agricultural crops, flowers, vegetables, herbs, trees, and shrubs, which is sold, offered for sale, or transported within Nevada for sowing purposes, must bear or have attached a plainly written sell-by date as set forth in the bill. If seeds are coded, there is additional labeling information required. There were no amendments presented for this measure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rudy. Committee members, do we have any questions? Senator Goycochea.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And my biggest concern with this is, typically we can buy certified seed today or non-certified seed. This is going to require all retailers in the state to sell seed that is either certified or tagged as such. And I'm afraid we're going to force our producers to purchase out of state. If you're in northeastern Nevada, it's a quick run it's not much farther to Twin Falls than it is Winnemucca. And that's my concern. I did ask Ms. Brown in the testimony, I think on Tuesday, and I didn't get an answer back. I don't know if the chair did, as to whether Did you get a response back?
Senator Goicoechea, we have Ms. Brown online if you would like to ask her a question directly as well. So just want to put that on there.
Good afternoon, Chair. May I?
Please proceed.
All right, thank you. Senator Goicoechea, I wanted to loop back with you. I was finally able to connect with staff relating to your question. And currently, Nevada seed producers are currently going through germination and seed testing already. The only new would be that sell-by date with the germination test date. So the label requirements is the only difference.
Ms. Brown, Megan, could you, a little louder? I couldn't quite hear you.
I'm sorry, I don't want to get too close. Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. All right. I wanted to let you know that I was finally able to connect with staff, and currently Nevada seed producers are already doing these tests. So the only change for current Nevada seed producers would be the sell-by date and making sure that that date is on the labels that they are selling. So there'll be no difference in what's currently occurring.
Follow up, if I may, Mr. Chair, just quickly. If a seed producer, let's say Ron Seed in Winnemucca, buys some seed out of Oregon, Idaho, from a seed grower or producer up there, and that is not in fact tagged, then he would be responsible then to tag and do that process before he could sell that product in the state of Nevada.
So it is my understanding that if he purchased it and is repackaging it to sell, if not, the person that he's purchasing it from would have to have those tests done. Most states are currently require these elements as well. So if they don't have the sell by date, but they have the information from a seed lab that has any of that information, that can come to our office, be certified, and then labeled for sale.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, the only concern I have, it's going to be an additional burden that's maybe not in place for out-of-state providers, retailers. So it could be an impact to Nevada businesses. Concerned about that, but understand the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Goicoechea. Any other questions? I don't see any other questions at this time, so I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to do pass SB 443. We have a motion to do pass by Senator Brooks. Do we have a second? We have a second by Vice Chair Scheibel. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will our Secretary please proceed the roll call vote?
Senator Brooks,
Yes.
Senator Goicoechea,
Vote yes and reserve my right.
Senator Hansen,
No.
Senator Scheibel,
Yes.
Chair Donate.
And I'm a yes. Thank you. Motion carries. I'll go ahead and take the floor statement on this one. Let's keep going. We have Assembly Bill 85, which revises provisions relating to noxious weeds. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Doniate. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Assembly Bill 85 removes from statute a provision that prohibits the state quarantine officer from designating a weed as noxious if the weed is so well established in the state that its control has been judged to be impracticable. With this prohibition removed, the state quarantine officer may declare by regulation any weed to be a noxious weed. The bill authorizes the state quarantine officer to limit a declaration or temporary designation of noxious weeds to specific geographic areas in this state, so that a declaration or temporary designation would only apply to those specific geographic areas and not to the entire state. The Senate Committee on Natural Resources proposes the attached amendment, which should be up on Nellis for you. It makes two changes. The first change is to address concerns raised during the hearing that the state quarantine officer should hold a public hearing before temporarily designating a weed as a noxious weed. Then the second change was presented by former Assemblywoman Heidi Swank, PhD, who served as the chair of the committee to conduct an interim study concerning wildfires when she presented the bill on May 6, 2021. Dr. Swank noted that the second change in the amendment was proposed by Nevada's Department of Transportation, and she noted that both she and the Department of Agriculture considered it a friendly amendment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rudy. Committee members, any questions? Senator Brooks?
Thank you, Chair. I'm looking at the proposed changes here, and I'm wondering if we have anybody from the department who might be able to answer a question for me on the proposed requirement for public hearing, and if we have any agency folks that could help me answer a question about that.
So I would believe from agriculture, we still have Ms. Brown. I don't know if she'd be able to answer any of those questions, but we also have our legal counsel, so
Oh, okay, great.
feel free.
Yeah, so just, I know there was some concern that public comment, or the whole public hearing might create some sort of a burden on the agency. And I just want to verify with the agency if that's something they currently do already on other things, and if so, what type of a burden it has. And putting my other hat on for my other committee, does it come with a fiscal note associated with it? Just want to try to head that off at the pass, if at all possible.
Mr. Amber, do you want to try to answer that? And if
Thank you, Chair Donate. Alan Amber for the record. So I cannot provide specific details in regards to the fiscal effect this will have on the agency. What I can do, though, is just provide a general statement, which I know when we draft bills, we indicate that there's a fiscal effect if there's a possibility or it appears that it might have a fiscal impact where they have to expend revenue above, I believe it's $2,000. So in regards to if this would cause that, I can't answer that question, unfortunately.
And Ms. Brown, I don't know if you're inclined to answer that question or not, or if you have to phone a friend or get back to me on that, but I would love for you to take a shot at it.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I believe in the bill, though, it says the quarantine officer may declare by regulation. Just the process of creating a regulation requires a public workshop.
Thank you, Senator. I think that's sufficient for me. I just, at this late date, don't want to create any other hurdles, but I still think it's a good idea.
thank you, Senator Brooks. I'll verify. I think Ms. Brown left the Zoom, so I'll go ahead and verify with the department before we, just to make sure about the fiscal process. But seeing no other questions, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to amend and do pass AB 85. We have a motion to amend and do pass by Senator Goycochea. Do we have a second? Second by Senator Brooks. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will Secretary please proceed?
Senator Brooks? Yes. Senator Goycochea? Yes. Senator Hansen?
Yes.
Senator Scheibel? Yes. Chair Donate?
And I'm a yes. Motion carries. If I can go ahead and give this to Senator Goycochea, is this fine for the floor statement? Thank you, sir. All right, let's keep going. We have Assembly Bill 89, which revises provisions relating to wildlife. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Doniate. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Assembly Bill 89 authorizes the Board of Wildlife Commissioners to adopt regulations establishing a program that allows a person to transfer his/her big game tag to a qualified organization for use by a person who is 16 years of age or younger and who is otherwise eligible to hunt or who has a disability or life-threatening medical condition. This bill also authorizes the Commission to establish by regulation a process by which a family member of a deceased big game hunter may transfer the tag of the deceased big game hunter to another person. There were no amendments on this measure. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rudy. Do we have any questions from the committee members? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to do pass AB 89. We have a motion from Vice Chair Scheibel and a second from Senator Hansen. Any discussion? Seeing none, I think with this one, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. If it's okay, I'll go ahead and give this to the floor statement to Senator Hansen. Okay, thank you, committee. All right, Assembly Bill 97, which revises provisions governing toxic chemicals. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Doniate. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Assembly Bill 97 requires the Division of Environmental Protection of the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources to form a working group to study environmental contamination resulting from certain toxic substances. The bill prohibits, with certain exceptions, the discharge, use, or release of Class B firefighting foam that intentionally contains those substances, requires the notification of the division if such actions are taken, and provides that a violation of this prohibition is a misdemeanor. The bill also prohibits, with certain exceptions, the manufacture and sale of children's products, furniture, mattresses, and other textile products that contain certain amounts of certain flame retardant chemicals. Additionally, the bill prohibits, with certain exceptions, a manufacturer from replacing such a flame retardant chemical with any other chemical that is known or suspected with a high degree of probability to have harmful effects on humans. There were no amendments presented on this measure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rudy. Really quickly before I turn it over to any potential questions, I wanted to mention just on the record that I had a really good meeting yesterday with members of the firefighters representatives, and they were going to call in support of this bill, but due to logistical problems, they weren't able to. So I was very glad to hear that they had some awareness of what was happening. So with that, committee members, do we have any questions for this bill? Senator Goycochea.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I don't believe I was here for this bill hearing, but I'm just concerned, this foam is still available with these, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the polyfluoride or whatever they are. These chemicals in it, that foam is still available for purchase? I mean, not all foam contains these additives.
Thank you, Senator Goycochea. So this might be a question for Assemblyman Watts, who's not present at this time, but perhaps Mr. Lovato, who's on Zoom, or Ms. Cabrera, there you go. Mr. Lovato, do you have any comments on that?
Hi, good afternoon. Senator Goycochea, Greg Lovato for the record. I actually don't know the status of these substances still being in firefighting foams for sale. There's a set of regulations under the Federal Toxic Substances Control Act that are reviewing use of these substances. So I'll have to get back to you on that. That's not something that I've researched. I know, so sorry, I don't have the answer.
Senator Goycochea, do you want to repeat your question for Assemblyman Watts?
Yeah, and the only point is, why don't we outlaw the chemical rather than outlaw foaming? Complete foam. That's, we've got a couple of chemicals that are found harmful, but yet we're saying, okay, you can't apply foam with that in it. So, and I guess technically that's what you're doing, but we could say it a lot clearer. Thank you, Assemblyman.
Thank you for the question, Senator Goycochea. Howard Watts for the record. So these chemicals, there's a range of them, and they're used in a variety of purposes to make things water repellent or grease repellent. And that includes food packaging, apparel, all kinds of other things. So instead of taking a blanket approach, we're looking at specifically the use of these foams, which in particular has led to the main sources of pollution that we've seen of these chemicals come from the industrial facilities where they're produced, or from their use in firefighting applications where they're released into the environment, including in training exercises. So that's one of the reasons that we really focused on the firefighting aspects and the foams that contain these chemicals. And it does not outlaw them because they're still working on alternatives to replace these chemicals with less harmful substitutes. So instead, what we're asking is that if they're discharged, that they be reported and that they're not used for training purposes to limit the amount of release that is happening.
I thank you for that. And technically, this is probably used as we foam a runway for a crash landing on an airplane. Probably the same stuff, I assume. So, yeah, I appreciate that, and thank you, sir. So you're just trying to cut it back more than that lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Goicoechea. Any other questions? Seeing none, I will go ahead and entertain a motion to do pass AB 97 at this time. We have a motion to do pass AB 97 from Senator Brooks. Do we have a second? Seconded by Vice Chair Scheibel. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the Secretary please call the roll call vote?
Senator Brooks? Senator Goicoechea? Senator Hansen? Senator Scheibel? Chair Donate?
Thank you, and I'll go ahead and assign the floor statement to Vice Chair Scheibel. That's fine. Great, thank you. All right, next we have Assembly Bill 101, which revises provisions governing the administration of certain substances to animals by licensed veterinarians. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Donate. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Assembly Bill 101 authorizes a licensed veterinarian to administer to an animal certain products containing hemp or CBD. The veterinarian may also recommend to the owner of an animal the use of such products to treat a condition of the animal. The Nevada State Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners is prohibited from taking disciplinary action against a veterinarian or the facility in which the veterinarian engages in the practice of veterinary medicine for administering or recommending the use of such products. There were no amendments for this measure.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rudy. Any questions from any of our committee members? Go ahead, Senator Goicoechea.
Thank you, Chair Donati. I just want to get it on the record and make sure everyone understands again that the FDA doesn't allow hemp to be fed or administered to food animals. So the vet's supposed to know that, but again, that could put him in jeopardy if he starts giving hemp to the milk cow. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Goicoechea. Any other comments or questions? At this time, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to do pass AB 101. We have a motion to do pass AB 101 from Senator Brooks. Do we have a second? Second from Vice Chair Scheibel. Any other discussion on this motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. I'll go ahead and give this floor statement to Senator Brooks, if that's okay. Thank you. Let's proceed. Next is Assembly Bill 102, which revises requirements to the issuance of certain annual permits for entering, camping, and boating in state parks and recreational areas. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Donate. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Assembly Bill 102 eliminates the requirement that the permanent service-connected disability rating of a resident of the state be 10% or more before he or she may be issued a free annual permit for entering, camping, and boating in all state parks and recreational areas of the state. However, the Division of State Parks of the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources is still required to impose an administrative fee to cover the cost of issuing the permit. There are no amendments for this measure.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rudy. Committee, do we have any questions? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to do pass AB 102. We have a motion from Senator Hansen to do pass AB 102. Do we have a second? Seconded by Senator Goicoechea. Any other discussion on this motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll go ahead and give this floor statement to Senator Hansen, if that's fine. Thank you, sir. And, all right, let's keep going. We have, next on the list is AB 146, which revises provisions relating to water. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Donate. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Assembly Bill 146, that is the first reprint of the bill, authorizes the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources to develop plans, recommendations, and policies to address water pollution resulting from diffuse sources. The bill requires the director of the department to consult or notify Indian tribes when working to control water pollution. The bill revises requirements for regulations adopted by the State Environmental Commission relating to water pollution and other requirements relating to the control of diffuse sources of water pollution. Finally, the bill provides that the legislature declares that the people of this state have a right to clean water and that it is the policy of Nevada to mitigate any degradation of the waters of this state. The bill sponsor proposes the attached amendment containing 4 changes. First, the amendment proposes to require the Commission, before adopting certain regulations, to consider the economic and technological feasibility of those regulations at any cost to local governments for implementation of such regulations. The next 2 changes clarify what underserved community means as used in Section 4 of the bill. Finally, the amendment authorizes the director of the department to submit recommendations to the commission for the adoption of regulations deemed necessary to control the infiltration of contaminants into underground water resulting from contaminated fluids or soils pursuant to state law. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rudy. We do have Assemblywoman Peters here available for any questions. So, committee members, any questions at this time? Senator Hansen.
My question actually boils around to opposition and if there's been any shifts. Henderson, Las Vegas, Clark County, Central Nevada Water Authority, Las Vegas Chamber, all opposed it. Has that changed at all since the amendment?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. Assemblywoman Peters, for the record, I did get confirmation from the Urban Consortium, which includes all of those entities, I believe, that they are in support of the amendment as it was modified for the work session today.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody from any of those? I just want to make darn sure that we're.
I
Nina?
apologize. Did I say they were in support? Because my intention was that they're in neutral. I'm sorry. So they came out of opposition into neutral.
Oh, they came in as neutral, not in,
Yeah, I think
not in
most-
favor of the bill. They were in favor of the
Not in
amendment.
favor of the
but-
bill. In favor of
okay.
the amendment.
All right, just want to double
Apologize.
check.
Thank you.
Thank you. Laxalt, you want to confirm or?
Yes,
Please
sorry,
proceed.
I will call, and on behalf of the Nevada Cattlemen's Association, Central Nevada Regional Water Authority, Humboldt River Basin Water Authority, all went from opposition to neutral because of the amendment.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this bill? Senator Gokachia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I definitely have a comfort level with the amendment that requires that those regulations, any cost to local government, will at least be looked at. I think it could be huge, and some of these, again, the very areas we're trying to help can't afford to fix it, and so I appreciate the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gokachia. Seeing no more questions at this time, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to amend and do pass AB 146. We have a motion from Senator Brooks to amend and do pass AB 146. Do I have a second? Seconded by Vice Chair Scheibel. Any other discussion on this motion? Will the Secretary please proceed?
Senator Brooks? Senator Goycochea? Senator Hansen?
No reservation.
Senator Scheibel? Chair Donate?
And I'm a yes. Thank you. Motion carries. I'll go ahead and take the floor statement on this one. Let's proceed to Assembly Bill 148, which revises provisions governing mining. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Delnyate. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Assembly Bill 148 requires an applicant for an exploration or mining permit who is a corporation or business entity to submit with the application an affidavit that states whether or not the applicant is in good standing with all agencies in relation to exploration projects or mining operations, along with the name and address of each person who has a controlling interest in the corporation or business entity. The bill prohibits the issuance of such a permit if the applicant is not in good standing with such an agency in relation to an exploration project or mining operation. However, the bill authorizes the issuance of such a permit if the applicant pays the full amount of the defaulted obligation and demonstrates that the conditions which led to the default have been remedied and no longer exist. The attached amendment was provided by the bill sponsor, who is in the room, to clarify the definition for a person who has a controlling interest as used in the measure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rudy. Committee members, do we have any questions? And again, Assemblywoman Peters is here to answer anything. So, Senator Gokachia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I wish I had the same comfort level with this bill as I did 146, but I'm still very concerned, and I understand maybe there's still some work in progress on the bill, or maybe some, I'm just really struggling with Nevada and our mining industry here, and our, whether it's NDP, our oversight of the mining industry in this state, trying to fix the things that happened in other states, and there's no real time frame. It could have happened 20 years ago, where that person actually defaulted and was a bad actor in Montana. I just struggle with Nevada having to fix that. I think we've done a very good job here in the state of Nevada over the last 30, 40 years. We are fixing it. Clearly, our bond account is over $2 billion that we presently hold for mine reclamation. So we're doing our job here. And to tell someone coming into this state, and just because he happened to be a junior partner or a partner in a corporation, if they can go back and find that, hey, he screwed up when he was in Montana and he failed to fix this, they can shut that operation down. I just have a hard time, being the big brother guarding that industry, the state of Nevada, for if there was a time frame on it, or if this happened in the last 5 years, or currently he's engaged there and he's clearly a bad actor, I'm fine with this. But if we're going to go back through here and say, hey, this guy, 30 years ago, X-known company is now employed in the state of Nevada, has a good, clean record for the last 20 years because he did make a mistake when he was in Colorado or Montana and has an outstanding debt or an outstanding project. I just struggle with this, having to police that, and so I'm trying to get around that, see if we can fix that a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Goicoechea. Any other? Senator Hansen.
Thanks, Chair. I share similar concerns. I would say that there's no question, after doing some homework on this, that there have been some bad actors in Nevada. And unfortunately, that's kind of tainted the feeling. I think in the testimony, the current bonding processes, everybody felt it was excellent, didn't need to be modified. So, like Senator Goicoechea said, how far back do we go? I don't want to do anything to jeopardize my rural communities. Mining is their lifeblood. And I want to encourage people to be competitive in a mining environment. I don't want to be chasing people out who may have done something less than desirable in another state decades ago even. So I will be a no, but I do appreciate the intent behind the bill to help keep our environment clean and to make sure that these big corporations are held accountable for their behavior, good or bad. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senator Hansen. Any other questions? Senator Brooks.
Thank you, Chair. And I shared a little bit of the same concerns, but around the reciprocity, or not reciprocity, but applying it to other states and standards associated with other states. I will support this bill, but I still have some reservations around that one piece of it, and I reserve my right on the floor, but I will support getting this out of committee today.
Thank you so much, sir. Any other comments before we proceed? Being none, at this time, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to amend and do pass AB 148. We have a motion to amend and do pass AB 148 from Vice Chair Scheibel. Do we have a second? Seconded from Senator Brooks. Any discussion on the motion? Will the Secretary please proceed?
Senator Brooks? Yes. Senator Goicoechea?
I'm going to vote no and hope we can fix it yet. Thank you.
Senator Hansen? No. Senator Scheibel? Yes. Chair Donate?
And I am a yes. Motion carries. I'll go ahead and take the floor statement on this one. Thank you, committee. Next, we have Assembly Bill 356, which makes various changes relating to the conservation of water. Ms. Rudy, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Chairman Doniate. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Assembly Bill 356 prohibits, with certain exceptions, the use of water from the Colorado River to irrigate non-functional turf on certain property. The bill creates the Non-Functional Turf Removal Advisory Committee to provide recommendations to the Board of Directors of the Southern Nevada Water Authority regarding turf removal and authorizes the board to approve an extension or waiver for the turf removal. Lastly, the bill requires the Legislative Committee on Public Lands to conduct a study during the 2021 to 2022 interim concerning water conservation in the state and to submit a report of its findings and any recommendations for legislation to the Director of the Legislative Council Bureau for transmittal to the 2023 Legislature. The attached amendment was provided by the Southern Nevada Water Authority to clarify that the waters of the Colorado River distributed by the Southern Nevada Water Authority or its member agencies may not be used to irrigate non-functional turf on any property that is not zoned exclusively for a single-family residence. Further, it adds 2 additional members to the Non-Functional Turf Removal Advisory Committee. At the hearing on Tuesday, someone requested a map of the non-functional turf, and that is uploaded on Nellis. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rudy. Do we have any questions from the committee members? We do have a representative from the SNWA here, if we have any questions. Senator Goicoechea, please proceed.
Thank you. And just a comment, again, I didn't realize that there was 5,000 acres of turf, non-functional turf in the Las Vegas Valley. That's 25,000 acre feet of water at a minimum, and that is being consumptively used. That area can't afford it, so I will be supporting the bill.
Thank you so much, Senator Goycochea. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to amend and do pass AB 356. We have a motion to amend and do pass this bill from Senator Brooks. Do we have a second? We have a second from Senator Goycochea. Any other discussion on this motion? Seeing none, will the Secretary please proceed?
Senator Brooks? Yes. Senator Goycochea? Yes. Senator Hansen? Yes. Senator Scheibel? Yes. Chair Donate?
And I'm a yes. Thank you. Motion carries. I'll go ahead and assign this to Senator Goycochea if it's okay. Thank you, sir. And we have, I think we're almost close to the end, so we have Assembly Bill 452, which revises provisions relating to environmental protection. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Doñate. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Assembly Bill 452 requires certain state agencies and entities to submit information to the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for the purposes of preparing the annual report on greenhouse gas emissions in the state that the department is required to prepare. The bill also requires a transfer of certain money from the Fund for Cleaning Up Discharges of Petroleum not to exceed $500,000 in any fiscal year to the account for the management of air quality, which may be expended only to pay the cost of preparing the required report on greenhouse gas emissions. There are no amendments for this measure.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rudy. Committee members, do we have any questions? Senator Hansen.
Just a comment. I think it's a mistake to pass this bill and take $500,000 out of where it really should be going simply to do a report. So I will be a no.
Thank you, Senator Hansen. Any other comments? Senator Goycochea.
Again, I also am struggling to support this measure. I think we're trying to get there too fast, too quick, and it's going to be expensive, so I will be opposing.
Thank you so much. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to do pass AB 452. We have a motion from Senator Brooks to do pass AB 452. Do we have a second? Seconded from Vice Chair Scheibel. Any other discussion on this motion? Seeing none, will the Secretary please proceed?
Senator Brooks? Yes. Senator Goycochea? Senator Hansen? No. Senator Scheibel? Yes. Chair Donate?
And I'm a yes. Motion carries. I'll go ahead and sign the floor statement to Senator Brooks, if that's fine. Thank you, sir. And I think we've reached the hurdle, the biggest from all the bills. We're close to the end. So the last bill that we have is Assembly Joint Resolution 3, which urges various actions relating to the protection and conservation of land and water. So Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Doñate. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Assembly Joint Resolution 3 urges President Joseph R. Biden, Jr. and the Congress of the United States to support a long-term goal of protecting 50% of the planet, inland waters and oceans, and urges state and local agencies in Nevada to work cooperatively with federal agencies and tribal governments to protect 30% of the lands and waters in the state by 2030. There are no amendments for this measure.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rudy. I believe we have Ms. Cabrera on Zoom to answer any questions from any of the committee members, but at this time, committee members, any questions? Senator Hansen.
A statement more than anything. Look, this is a crazy proposal, frankly. I mean, it's not defined, doesn't tell what we're going to protect, how much we're going to protect. You know, Nevada's already 87% almost controlled by the federal government. I mean, what's left? If you're going to take 30% of everything, federal and private, I mean, this is so vague. I realize it's part of a national agenda, but the parameters aren't defined. What we're trying to protect and conserve are not defined. It's exceptionally vague, and frankly, it's harmful to the state of Nevada to really consider basically adding more government control over the little bit of private lands that are in the state. So I'll be a strong no on this joint resolution. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senator Hansen. Senator Goycochea.
Just a comment, Mr. Chair, and I'm also can't support the measure. Clearly, 30% of the lands in the state of Nevada would be easy to attain, but there's just no way there's 30% of the water available in the state. And when you start talking about protecting and conserving it, is fine, but you're going to have to, it's going to cost some money to acquire those water rights. It'd be necessary to meet 30% of the water in the state. It's unfortunately, if that was going to happen, it had to happen 150 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Goycochea. Any other comments? Senator Brooks.
Thank you. I just want to make a note that, and I'm hoping that that's the intention of this joint resolution, as well as what is happening at the federal level, that sometimes the best way to protect and conserve the land is the multiple uses that we allow on it. And so I just, as long as multiple uses are allowed, I'm definitely in support of conserving our land and water for future generations, but as long as multiple uses are allowed. And I don't think there was anything in this bill that prohibited multiple uses.
Thank you so much, Senator Brooks. Any other comments or questions? Being none, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to do pass AJR 3. We have a motion from Vice Chair Scheibel to do pass AJR 3, and it looks like a second from Senator Brooks. Do we have any other discussions on the motion? Being none, will the Secretary please proceed?
Senator Brooks? Senator Goycochea? Senator Hansen? Senator Scheibel? Chair Donate?
And I am a yes. And I will assign the floor statement to myself since I am a joint sponsor of AJR 3. Thank you so much to our committee members. Let's finish off with public comment. I'll go ahead and call for public comment at this time. Please remember to limit your comments to 2 minutes. Is there anyone in the room wishing to provide public comment? Seeing none, let's go to the phone lines, BPS.
Thank you, Chair Donate. We are currently on public comment. If you have recently joined the call and would like to provide public comment, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Once again, we are currently in public comment. If you would like to provide public comment, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, the public line is open and working. However, there are no callers at this time.
Thank you so much, BPS. So before we adjourn the meeting, I just want to mention that this may be close to our last meeting. So of course, I would like to thank our members, our staff for all their work, and of course to the agency representatives that work with us throughout this entire session. To the members of this committee, thank you for your mentorship and your patience throughout this journey, and also for taking the time to help educate me on the issues and that we face throughout the whole entire state. And finishing from grad school, I never would have imagined I would have been thrown talking about water or wild horses or exotic animals, but it's been a good journey, and I just really wholeheartedly thank you all for just helping me, guiding me throughout this process. And like I mentioned, thank you again to the staff for the endless hours that you have poured into getting us going. So, members, any comments before we adjourn?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I could, please keep working on 148. I would like to help Ms. Peters, but if we can get some of that conflict out of the bill, I could definitely support it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. I'll definitely follow up on that. Any other comments before? Senator
Quick
Hansen?
one. I want to additionally thank the staff. Oh, thank you. You got dropped into a pretty tough situation for being 24, 25 years old, right out of grad school, and all of a sudden you're chairing committees dealing with some, critical issues involving billions of dollars of decisions. I want to thank you for doing a good job and reaching out to all of us and, trying to avoid the partisanship too much and doing a really excellent job as a chair. So just want to congratulate you.
Thank you so much, Senator Hansen. All right, any other comments before we adjourn? We good? All right, thank you so much. This meeting is now adjourned.